Hi there. Thank you so much for reading this week's newsletter. So, I have some fun Valentine's Day ideas for you. Some things I just picked up from a dollar store, but I'll put a link to other things if you're looking for more ideas. So, one of the first things I have is one of my game boards from Wordless Builder. This is a candy shop theme, which is kind of fun. And you can use, I found these little, I think they're like just Valentine's Day treat bag fillers. So here's a little puppy and a cat for game players, and you can move them along the spaces of the words. So that's one idea. These are, once again, from a dollar store that I found. Another thing I found with these heart-shaped felt pieces. So if you don't want to use a sand tray for your students to trace, you can have them trace here a apple and that's still a nice multi-sensory tool to use a piece of felt. Let's see what else. So we're talking about, say, the heart routine. I don't just like to just stick with just the heart routine. I like to try and build in some meaning behind that. Anything with etymology that I can bring in when I'm talking about a word that you might classify as a heart word. I really try to strive to do that. So, for instance, with the word said, I would, in my pocket chart behind me, I would start with the word say, says. Okay, those are happening in the present. And said is my past tense form. And yet it doesn't follow that typical, put an ed on there for past tense. So it's a little irregular, but that can happen in the English language. So I would post those with my said. And then to bring in a little Valentine's Day fun, so we're talking about this is the past tense of say. I found these at the Dollar Tree too. So I found these little heart, I don't know what you call them, wands. You might put them in a flower pot or something. And then they can heart over the part that they have to remember by heart. And if you don't want to use these are lots of fun. If you don't want to use them for heart words, you can just use them as pointers, pointing to each word. This works great as a highlighting tool so that they can just perhaps highlight, say you were teaching a particular vowel team and they had to put the heart over that vowel team part of the word to identify it before reading it. Another thing is if you buy a bag of table scatter. This is once again from a Dollar Tree. So this has a whole bunch of little plastic hearts in it. $1. And they're shaped like this. Okay, little hearts, and they're just plastic. They're not even glass. And they could just lay them on top of that heart word if you wanted. The other thing that you could use the table scatter for is for roll and read games to place on the spaces on that game board. Okay, so those are just a few Valentine's Day ideas. I know I got my heart sweatshirt on here to try out. I'll put a link to some other things you may want to try out as well. And just before I go, I want to say, February is a great month to bring awareness to heart health. Two of my boys had heart conditions, one in utero and one at birth. And I also have one. So we are totally fine. My boys are totally healed from it. I see a cardiologist regularly, but you know what? I just want to remind you all, it's so important to take care of your heart as part of your overall health. So be well, and I will see you next time. Take care.